This meeting is going to be recorded for public record.
Good evening. Welcome to the City of Seaside Community Safety Advisory Committee. Today is Wednesday, October 16, 2024. It is now 5:45, and we will begin our meeting. We'll begin our meeting with the roll call.
Chair Jones.
Here.
Vice Chair Thomas.
Here.
Commissioner Amarante.
Here.
Commissioner Velasquez.
Here.
Commissioner Velasquez is attending via Zoom. Commissioner Folia.
Here.
Commissioner Katz. Chair Jones, we do have a quorum.
Thank you so much. At this time, we'll move to review our agenda. The agenda was posted. All the commissioners had a chance to review our agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
Appears that none have been presented.
Hearing no changes to the agenda, can I get a motion to accept the agenda?
I move to accept the agenda.
Second.
Been moved and second to accept the agenda. Are there any questions? No questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. The agenda has been accepted. All right. We'll open up now to public comments. Public comments are now open. Members of the public wish to address the commission on matters within the jurisdiction of the City of Seaside, but not on this agenda, may do so during the public comment period of up to 3 minutes. Comments on specific agenda items are heard under that item. For the public record, please state your name. Public comments is still open. Hearing no public comments and no one wishing to make a public comment at this hearing, at this meeting, then we're going to close public comments at this time. The commission will take time to review the minutes from our September 4th meeting. We will review those minutes and
Also,
Yes, there are two sets of minutes.
Absolutely. So we're reviewing our September 4th meeting as well as our August 21st meeting.
Just for the record, the September 4th meeting was a special meeting. August 21st, 2024 was a regular meeting.
Having reviewed the minutes, are there any additions or changes to the minutes?
I move to approve the August 21st, 2024 meeting. I second the motion.
What about the September 4th meeting?
I move also to approve the September 4th meeting, especially.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from September 4th, 2024 and August 21st, 2024. Are there any questions? All in favor, let it be known by yay.
Yeah.
Aye. Oh, yay.
All opposed? Seeing none, the minutes for September 4th and August 21st are now. Our first business item of the day is our 2024-2025 annual work plan assignment updates. Let me be the first to say that I left my home this afternoon, and I left my folder that contained my notes, so therefore I'm not prepared. I am not prepared. Any commissioner that want to give an update on where they are. I know that Commissioner Cash, you have an update.
Of sorts, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Would you be so kind to start?
I was assigned key activity 3 and 4 of the work plan to review and come up with some ideas and to research. I found out, I realized quickly that there's a lot of information that I don't have and would appreciate the other commissioners' guidance on maybe how to proceed. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but if we could look at number 3 first, key activity, enhance transparency initiatives through critical incident community briefings. I was looking at the goals, the last 2 goals for the last 2 work plans of 23-24 and 24-25. The most recent being measure usership on the existing media platforms and explore other platforms for possible expansion. I haven't done a huge amount of research on this, but some questions came up and maybe I could get some direction on where to go. I have been, it has been recommended that I contact the clerk, the city clerk, for some guidance in this. But basically, I'm seeking information to figure out where we're at before we set up goals for the next time. And I'm not sure where we are at on these things. As far as measuring media usership, I can't speak tonight. On the various platforms and what it is now. Have we been getting any information? Do we have any information on media usership, what it was at the beginning, what it is currently or recently? My understanding would take an IP, there would be some kind of IT department kind of program or something set up to capture that information. In other words, as I understand it right now, I'm not sure which media platforms we're using. I know we have Instagram. I know we have the city website. I don't know if we have Twitter, X, or whatever. Facebook, yeah, I looked up Facebook
police
too.
department sends out a newsletter as well as they sent out a bulletin. Is it a bulletin, Chief?
Well, they post a bulletin, I know, on
I know
the city website.
No, well, I know they sent out emails that says like when something happened in the city and you guys give an update, you email.
Well, we send out press releases, but our social media is primarily, I believe, what this goal is. And I can tell you in 2021, I took over as acting chief. I'll use Facebook because that's our most prominent social media platform that we have the most followers. And in 2021, we had about 3,000 followers here in Seaside. And as of today, we have 9,700. We have 9,700 plus. And it's growing literally by the week still to this day. And that's because we are putting out information of all kinds. Just today, I posted two pretty unique stories of things happening within the police department that you'll see if you look at our Facebook and any of our social media later today. So it's pretty effective. We do a pretty good job, and we're very unique in a sense that we don't just put out the bad stuff. We don't just put out the good stuff, which is very common for most police departments. We put out everything. We put out the good, the bad, the fun, the cute, the acts of kindness. We put it all out there. There are certain things like the community briefings, for example. We had a shooting back in May, and I believe the district attorney's office is finishing up that investigation on that particular shooting. There are certain things that we can't come out and speak of. If it were up to me, I would come out of every single shooting, every use of force, every incident where there was an inquiry or I had concerns or was supportive of, I would come out and share that. But the reality of it is, once we have an outside entity investigating a case involving us, we can't speak about it. It's an ongoing investigation. We are asked to and told not to speak about things until they are concluded. So I'm just hopeful that our goals are reasonable and are things that we can actually carry out on our end as well.
I guess what I'm getting to is, for example, Facebook. Now we have a baseline here. I'm hearing it tripled over the last, 2 years, 3 years, as far as you've got a mechanism in place. I don't know if I've never set up a Facebook account, but I presume there's a way that that's being monitored. I don't know who posts on it. And so if we're trying, is that what we're trying to do? We're trying to track and see if things are working or?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yes, and all social media platforms have their own data capturing, so they can tell you your algorithm of, who's looking at your stuff, how frequent it is, and I mean, you can print out a whole report just by clicking on a button. It'll show you your performance, which posts get more feedback and things like that of that nature. It's all controlled. But I mean, honestly, the way I look at it, it's very simple. If you're getting more followers at this frequency, something is right. The communication is out there where others want to be a part of that communication feed. And if you look at other departments, local, they've hit the plateau. I mean, the numbers that they had in 2021 are the same or similar as they are today in most agencies locally, because it's kind of the same, here's our press release, here's our whatever it may be, where we're putting stuff out there that it's really what's happening inside. We posted yesterday one of our employees' birthdays. We posted today about an African gray parrot that was rescued and now is mimicking sounds of our police radio, and it's actually making us all jolt every time we hear this bird make this sound. We had an officer who just today bought groceries for a lady in line who couldn't afford to pay for her full bag of groceries, so he paid for her whole bill. And then we'll post other things. If we have an officer that gets a gun off the street or other stuff, we'll post the stuff that we're doing to give a full picture of what's happening in the police department. So I think we're doing well in terms of transparency and getting the messages out.
When I was poking around, I forget which website, I think one of the employees in maybe records, I don't know if it was her birthday or what, she'd been here like, 15 years?
Yeah.
And I saw that, and I saw things like that. I also saw some of your critical incident productions. I think where the individual got run over up on I guess it was Del Monte and crossed up Fremont.
Right, correct.
You had that well covered. I guess what I'm trying to get to is what social media platforms are we looking at? Have we been looking at this stuff the last 2 years? And have we said, wow, this is working? And have we made recommendations? I mean, this is new to me. I wasn't here when this was created.
I have looked at it. I mean, I'm monitoring Facebook. I don't really monitor Facebook. I may go on there every now and then and see all the stories on there. And I do get the City of Seaside Police Department press releases and the city email, right, that they sent out, like they just sent out the one last week about the Sunday we had Sunday, the city's birthday party. So those are in my opinion, they're very effective. I mean, they send them out, people are showing up, people are getting the information. So I think that when we look at developing critical incident briefings, I think that the newsletter, the briefing that the chief did, the other community events that we have at the Older Mind Center. I can't remember what that was called. Not that long ago.
Yeah, it was honoring homicide victims, Eternal Light of Hope.
Correct. What do you call it?
Eternal Light of Hope.
Eternal Light of Hope. Right. So those kind of things, the messages are going, or the invites and whatever is going out on social media, different things in there, and people are responding.
Chair Jones, Commissioner Velasquez does have her hand up, so I just want to make sure she's aware that we're aware of her. So, Sure.
Well, I was going to let Commissioner Velasquez share with us.
I was gonna say, if I can interject, one thing that might help with this would be maybe to have a social media analytics report, maybe twice a year or something like that, so that we could actually track what's happening. And it doesn't have to be, I mean, I've taken the Google Analytics certification, but I'm not saying like a detailed analytics report, but just something simplified that shows whether there's been an increase or decrease in followers, how often we're posting, that kind of thing. So then that way, in regards to that key activity 3, we can have an idea of what's going on. And then that in a way of measuring, our progress, or if we need to increase, say, posting or decrease posting, that kind of thing.
I guess what I'm I appreciate the feedback, and I guess I'm trying to figure out what kind of goals we're going to set for ourselves. Is there someone that I should contact to just get a list of all the different platforms we're using?
Well, I mean, I can tell you now, we have Facebook, Instagram, and X. That's the ones we use in the police department. The city of Seaside also has independent platforms, and we also support one another. So there are things that we may post if it ties to the police department, and our city clerk's office will post almost everything that we post, not so much the crime stuff, but all the news briefs, the press releases and things of that nature. And it is a challenge because to measure that just by looking at the analytics, it will show you activity. It'll show you if you post a video, how many people looked at it, the length of, did they watch your full video or just the first few seconds? And it gives us, and I'll be quite honest, I don't look at those too frequently. I look at if something's posted, how many reactions you get to them and comments. Those are things you get best feedback as possible. And here's a good example. If I post something and I get 9 reactions to that, somebody might like it, love it, or not, whatever it may be. That's pretty low. That's something that's not of an interest. Whereas Candace, when I posted her birthday, as of this morning, there was 110 reactions. So that tells me that maybe when it's somebody's birthday and somebody that's worked here a while and well-known in the community that lives in the community, that's probably somebody's birthday I want to put out there because the community wants it. It's not a real over challenging, over complicated review of measuring that feedback. It's pretty basic upfront. And I'll tell you, really, we do a really nice job with it. I just would challenge anyone to look at other agencies from wherever, their social media platforms versus ours, and you'll see the difference. And we're very professional. Some agencies, there was an agency in this county that was posting things and we're trying to be funny and cute, and it would say, you know, have a story, a really interesting, goofy story of how they came across an arrest or whatever it may be. And it was pretty demeaning in many cases of how they would talk about, you know, people being arrested and so forth. We don't do that. We try not to even post names unless it's something serious, because names are really not important. Race is not important. What's important is a crime occurred. The person was either a juvenile or an adult, and we caught them. That's typically what we try to aim for.
Well, Chief, it sounds like from what I'm hearing that what you're using now, Instagram, X, the city of Seaside, and the social media, Facebook, have been successful based on what you're telling me.
Very much so. Very much so.
That's what I'm trying to get to, is we're trying to figure out, brainstorm and figure out how we can assist to make it even more successful. Do you have any ideas on that?
The only suggestion I would have is for you all as residents here in Seaside is to get feedback. Is there any other content that people you speak to want to hear, want to see more frequently, less frequently? That's going to give us much better access and much better direction than analytics will. Analytics is going to give us graphs and certain things, but I want to hear from you all and Seaside. There may be certain things you want to know or hear about. And again, I would be somewhat surprised if there was something that we're not posting. We post about animals, cars, accidents, crime, positive stories, fun stories, heartwarming stories, all on a very contemporaneous basis.
I would suggest that as commissioners, if you're not active on social media, that you become active and follow the police department social media. Personally, I'm on social media a lot for personal reasons and for my business, and I follow the police department's Facebook and Instagram. A couple of things that have been very effective over the past couple of years is in the middle of, there were a couple of serious events that took place in the city, and Chief Borges went live from the scene of the actual incident and provided updates throughout the day. And citizens, I know it got a lot of feedback because I said I'm on social media a lot, so a lot of people were commenting that it was keeping us up to date. At certain points, they had blocked off parts of the city that you weren't allowed to go into. He was telling people to stay out of those areas. He was providing live updates. So if you're not on social media, I know a lot of people don't want to be, and I don't want to force you to go on Facebook if you don't want to, but
I think I know the incident you're referring to, and I was following it as well. And it didn't end here, but anyway, it certainly started here. But so that was another one of the questions: is how much are we the ones that are in? Are you the one? Is our police department the one that's approaching the radio and TV, saying, "Hey, we've got an issue we want to throw out there," or is it always responsive where they're hearing about something and coming to you guys? Or how does that work, and how do you want it to work?
If I understand your question, so Here, I'll just say how it works in most cases. Everyone in the department knows I pretty much run our social media. I do about 99% of it. One other, our canine officer helps out from time to time with our Instagram, but I'll say 99% of the Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter or X. The officers, how we're trained inside, and they know I'm kind of a 24/7 guy. So they can text me in the middle of the night if there's an incident, or every day they do shift notes. So if it's something that's not urgent, they report every morning to the whole department their shift activity, and they'll include photographs and synopsis of things that occur. And those are typically things I'll post the day after of, a gun was recovered, or there was a car crash, hit and run, or whatever it may be, something that's not an immediate threat to the public. But if it's something that is high profile, 9 times out of 10, and the one time I'm not there is if I'm out of town, 9 times out of 10, I'm responding to that. And while everyone's controlling the scene, dealing with the problem, and the problem's secured, that's when I will immediately turn to social media. I'll post things when I can. I'll go live. And really, I stumbled upon the live feature really by accident on that particular call a couple of years back. And I was getting nothing but phone calls about, should we lock down, or is there a threat to my area? I'm getting a lockdown 911 reverse call here. And I was trying to just post a video just to say, here's the hot zones and so forth, and here's who needs to be concerned, who doesn't. And I saw a button that says, I knew it existed, but I had never used it. I saw a button that said live, and I hit live. So I think that video is down now, but if you saw the first maybe 10 seconds, you could see me just staring at it like I was confused. But it seemed very effective, and I could see in real time comments and thumbs up and thank you. And then I was getting less text and less phone calls from members of the public because they were getting that information. So we really started that trend. And I don't want to call out our current sheriff, but I'm going to. When she was in Marina, she loved that concept, and then Marina PD started doing that. And now the sheriff's office has been doing that on a regular basis. So it's effective. It's something we have to do. And a lot of people, they're alerted when something goes live. So it's not like you have to go on your social media and search to see if something's happening. In most cases, I think you have to just click a button that you want live alerts. And when somebody goes live, you'll be alerted and notified saying, Seaside Fire and Police are going live. And that's, when we're going live, it's either a really cool event or something is serious happening.
Thank you for the update and the education, and I apologize for my ignorance over here. But that's what I'm just trying to go forward with this. That's pretty much all I've got for right now. Hopefully next time I'll be a little bit further along with
Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Baxter.
yes, Commissioner Velasquez has her hand up. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, let me first say that the commissioners all have an echo. When the chief speaks, he does not have an echo. But all of the commissioners, whenever they speak, there's an echo. And only thing I can think of is that maybe it's the chief's microphone picking it up secondary. So I didn't know if the chamber was aware of that. And then my question is, because that was kind of one of the things I was wondering about regarding this key activity 3 is, what is the commission's participation in this key activity? Or is it more just monitoring in regards to community outreach? Or, is the commission supposed to be participating in this regarding social media? I know there are certain things in regards to the Brown Act. So, yeah, I wanted to kind of get more clarification as what's our position, or, what are we supposed to be doing in regards to that, to number 3?
Okay, so I think that the part of the commissioners are to, as we go out into the community, to find out from the community what works, or what information they're receiving and how are they receiving it, and that's how we come back and we measure what we're doing. So if as we go out into the community, ask, well, how do you receive news about the Seaside Police Department, right? And then your community members will tell you either through Facebook or through Instagram or through X or in the emails, then that's how we, and then if they don't say, well, I don't get any, then it's our job to inform them. This is how you can follow the Seaside Police Department. This is how you can get the information about what's going on in the city of Seaside. So I think that's our job and where we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing. And then that way, as we talk to the community, because we are the liaison between the community and the police department, we're the liaison. So then that's how we monitor, by our communication with the. I hope that kind of answers the question.
It kind of does. Now, should we be communicating that back to the commission in regards to if I guess community members are saying, well, I'm not able to get online or I'm not getting certain information. How do I get this information? Would that be a part of it? And if so, should that also be somewhere in our document in regards to, key activities or goal or not goals? Let me look on it again. I want to make sure I'm using the right term. Ongoing projects.
Yeah.
Right. So we could report back to the commission that community members are having a hard time finding it or locating it, and maybe we can then talk with put it in our report so that we can look at ways to easily, more effectively, or more encourage the community how to find it or where to find it. I think that most people, who want to. Anybody who, if I can follow them on Facebook, I think anybody can follow them on Facebook. I just, or where to sign up for, for the email or whatever. And if it's too difficult or hard, then we could come up with a cheat sheet, maybe. I don't know.
I think it depends on which segment of our community you're speaking of. If you're speaking to an older segment that maybe doesn't have a computer at home and is not social media literate, that they may be looking for a specific way to receive information. They may not get emails on a regular basis. So there probably needs to be an option. And there is a small segment of our community that really needs some help along those lines.
I'd like to add,
Definitely.
before we close out activity 3 and the goals, it seems like the focus though is specifically on critical incident reporting. And the community critical incident reporting is the goal versus, and the other stuff is great. And I just want to make sure that's still the goal we're going to focus on. Or are we going to expand it to other things besides just the critical incident reporting and try to get a better understanding of what a critical incident is? So I think I have an understanding, but at any rate, that's kind of where I'm coming from. At any rate, I'm ready to go forward with it and talk about it next time if you want to push on, guys.
Would you like to ask the chief what definition of critical incident?
I can send an email to somebody and they'll answer it. How's that? Would that work better later?
Whatever you like.
Okay, we'll do it that way so we can keep going forward.
I would like to know, Chief, what is it? I'm sorry, but that's a good question.
So a critical incident really is exactly what it is in the definition. It could be a shooting, it could be a high profile crash, something that affects your safety. But also I recall when we had these discussions about doing community briefings, one of the commissioners brought this up to my recollection, and it wasn't just activity in Seaside, it was national events. So if a national event took place, you had a George Floyd or a Tyree Nichols or a situation that took place like that, the goal or the thought was that we would have community briefings on that. So that's something that we really have not done. And there's been a variety of incidents where we could do certain things like that. We just have to be careful as well, because a lot of these things that come out, we don't have all the facts, and we don't want to be that agency that gets ahead of the facts, gives strong opinions to our community. And then it turns out more facts come out, and now we have to shift and have more meetings, and it could be a bad look. And I think that's probably why we haven't done that. But when we have had critical incidents, we have come out and spoke on our viewpoints, our original thoughts of when we see and view particular incident. We have done that in the past, but we try to be careful with any incident that we don't have all the facts on. And in most cases, we don't have all the information, if it's not full video out there with all the background.
So a critical incident is something of a criminal nature as opposed to like, if there was a natural gas leak and the fire department comes and they evacuate people, right?
Yeah, I can't give you just every example of it, but anything that's going to impact your safety, your life, yes. It could be a crash that involves no crime at all. It could be someone had a medical issue and crashed and hit 4 or 5 cars that shut down, or a gas leak, like you said, hit a gas pipe and now there's a gas leak that we have to shut down certain areas. That's a critical incident. It could be impacting your home. Your home could be at risk. Things like that. That's really defined as a critical incident.
I believe we had a critical incident that I was involved with. I forget when it was, but this was in the last year where the water system was contaminated or
Right.
suspected of, and the fire department and that sort of thing. So I presume they're working with you when those things occur to let you guys know what's going on too.
Absolutely. Mhm.
And I think the critical incident briefings are when, on social media when the chief goes live and get those updates. I think those are completely success briefings as well. I mean, if someone hits a light bulb and you know, all the lights on, Fremont goes out, that's a critical incident. Because that's the safety of our community. And if you go out and if the chief goes live or one of the officers go live and say, hey, you have power outage, so, you know, observe it as a four-way stop. I think that's what you're supposed to do. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Okay.
If you're okay with me moving to the next goal.
Let me see, Commissioner Velasquez has anything.
I was just gonna ask if maybe we could put that definition somewhere. So, I mean, like
In
you
the
know,
document?
within number 3. Yeah,
You
in the
mean in the
document.
document itself, if we can put the definition of critical incidents? I think as the chief says, I think it's too broad. You don't want to leave out something and then later decide it's a critical incident. I think it's too broad. I think that we just leave it as a critical incident. And I think that would better cover it. Maybe.
Well, could it be something where we maybe list a couple examples and say such as, but not limited to?
I'd be happy to submit to the board a definition for your review.
Thank you. You good with that?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
That was the perfect answer right there. All right, Commissioner Cass has also had
I want to thank my fellow commissioners for assigning me 2 goals, by the way.
You're so welcome. I appreciate you. We appreciate you.
So goal 4 was to enhance community relations through community outreach programs, which really relates a lot to what we're talking about as well. And the most recent goal was to measure effectiveness of current programs and evaluate whether to enhance and or expand those programs, I presume. So I was reading through some things, and also the previous goal from 23-24 mentions the CHAMP program, which I looked at a little bit online. And there's both the fire department and the police department. I believe that the cadets are in that. That's still the CHAMP program, right, Chief? So I guess what we're trying to do here is when we call about the effectiveness of the current programs, I don't know if we've been trying to capture information and decide what programs we are actually wanting to look at. And I'm open to any suggestions as far as programs we can look at. I know the chief, I believe the chair, the Blue Ribbon Task Force that meets monthly. I know about that one. I've actually attended a community meeting up, I forget the park, where you had a community meeting when there was so much youth violence against each other, and you asked the community members to come and meet. That was several months ago. I would put that into a community program. I don't know what you want to call it. Community meetings called by the police chief, but so I was trying to, I know you have a program. I don't know if you call it a program or just a protocol where you do a lot of deferring of filing charges against youth and defer them to other programs like Sun Street Center and or the Seaside Youth Resource Center or such as that. So I'm trying to get a better handle on what programs we have that we're supposed to be measuring. And before we can figure out how well they're doing, maybe you guys know all this. I know I have been participating in your Coffee to Cops program. I don't know when, a while back at the library. So if we could get your feedback on the programs as you're thinking of them when we're talking about this goal, generally, what you think of with community outreach. I mean, I even think of the Seaside Resource, or I'm sorry, the Seaside Recreation Centers program to help homeless families with Derek Elder, that sort of thing. So I'm trying to get the venue that we're trying to get to. Or do you guys have any, or do my fellow commissioners have any comments or thoughts on that?
I have
Good.
Go ahead, Commissioner Johnson.
Well, my only question was because it lists the Citizens Police Academy. Did we start that? Or is that something that we've done, or is that something we're looking to do in the future? Because if so, I mean, that probably should move over, because I don't remember us mentioning, having that like a class date or anything for that. So that was my only question on number 4.
We've done that, haven't we? We haven't done it yet. But there are these cadets and kids out there doing stuff, right?
But that's got champ. Go ahead, Gigi.
Yeah, I knew about CHAMP. It was just that specifically the Citizens Police Academy.
And to answer that question, no, we have not brought that back. That's something that's in our goals. I was just taking notes of some of the events we do, which we've already talked about, Eternal Light, CHAMP. We have a speaking series that Gina actually coined the name. We've had one of the dirtiest cops in the history of the United States who came last November and did a speaking series for a group of law enforcement throughout the state. We had another speaking series with Denise Huskins and Aaron Quinn. They were featured on the Netflix documentary American Nightmare. They came out and did a speaking series to over 300 law enforcement officials here in Seaside. Blue Ribbon Task Force. We have microchipping events, so it's not just police, but through our animal control. This Saturday or Sunday, I think it's Sunday, there'll be a microchip event that's coming. Actually, I take that back. I think, no, it is. It's a microchip event as well as a costume contest over at Pachetti Park, and that's on our social media. Trunk or treat, we do that out here on City Hall for Halloween for the kids. But the two things that I want to bring back, and we can set this as goals if you guys choose, but I'm going to do this irregardless, is the Citizens Academy. I want to bring that back and have an English and Spanish one. We've done this in the past. We just don't have the capacity to do a full-blown effective Citizens Academy. These things run usually between 6 to 12 weeks, depending on the level of staff that we have. In years past, we held it at Soper Field. They'd meet twice a week, and they'd go over, all these blocks of different aspects of training that we do. They would do ride-alongs and all these fun things. We do a little bit of all those things, but it's not in a formalized program, because before we had a community liaison officer who would run these programs. Now we have new community resource specialists. They have a variety of tasks, far more than a community liaison ever did. So to devote that, we're just not quite there yet, but it's in progress. The other thing that we did, and it's something we started in around 2018, is listening sessions. And we would do those quarterly, and essentially we would just pick random establishments, places of faith, businesses, whatever it may be. And we go to coffee shops and essentially invite the entire community, which was a really positive thing. So we go to one religious establishment, and a variety of people from all over would come to this establishment. And we would just listen. We literally would just listen. It wasn't our time to defend or explain, or we would explain if we were asked things, but it was the community's opportunity to come and share anything, concerns, ideas, thoughts, frustrations, compliments, whatever it may be. And that's something that we have not done. It kind of died off with COVID, but that's something I definitely would like to bring back, because I think that dialogue is important.
So Chief, since I'm working on this, is that okay if I send you an email and you to talk about these things when you have time?
Absolutely.
You can describe them to me, and we can try to make sure we understand what we
Definitely.
have. The other thing I was looking at was if we're getting feedback from your field officers about how these programs are working. I'm presuming that, I'm pretty sure that if you run into an unhoused family, for example, your officers, I've known how well they work with the public, are referring people to different places, and I'm sure they're making, they've had experience with a lot of these programs, maybe not city programs, but other programs where they're saying, wow, this is an awesome program, or maybe this is not such a great place to be sending people because of feedback. I don't know if you're open to something like that, but I was kind of thinking about trying to get feedback from them and the community about the different programs that are around, just to see how popular they are, or if there's people coming and say, wow, I know about this program, I want to tell people about that sort of thing. That's, and from the programs themselves. So we can, I guess what I'm trying to do is build an information bank for us to look at and say, wow, these are the things that we're doing now. This is the thing that the Seaside Police Department's doing, I should say. And this is, seems to be what it is that they're doing. And then we can maybe do some feedback and try to make sure we understand what's going on before we go forward with our next set of goals. If that makes sense to the commissioners. Again, if it's okay with the chief, if you're good with it, I can start communicating through your number one over there.
Absolutely. Open door. I would just say we can really only speak to Seaside programs. And I heard in there something about unhoused and the officers' feedback. They may not have accurate feedback on that because they may not see that. The best wheelhouse for that would be Derek Elder and the Family Community Support Team. If we're looking for feedback on these long-term programs, or even with the youth diversion, I would say that Teddy Black with the Resource Center is the expert in that field who can say, these are the most effective programs. Our role in referring those is really limited, and we rely on them to be almost like the dispatch center. So once we reach out to Derek and or Teddy, they kind of take it from there and they designate which programs they feel best meet that person's needs. So a program that's ours, we can speak to. Outside of that, we would be giving information that's probably not going to give the best feedback.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Glassman.
I was gonna say, so based on that conversation, then for number 4, should we move the milestone for 2023, 2024 and add it to 2024, 2025? And then the one that's currently there, kind of make that always the next milestone so that we continue to measure?
The other alternative would be to move the Citizens Police Academy to ongoing projects. So that way, since there isn't an established date and there's no capacity within the department, so that also is another option.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Chair, Vice Chair, Co-Chair. You want to pass that? Okay. Yes, go ahead.
This is just one last comment for yours in regards to the effectiveness of the programs and allowing the city to know what this commission does. This was actually brought up at, there was a community candidate forum a couple of weeks ago at the Oldmeyer Center, and someone asked a question about was the community, what was the question? The community, were they involved in speaking with the police department about things that happened? And the mayor brought up the fact that he had created this community safety commission, but nobody knows about us. So there needs to be a way that the community is aware that we are here, and when we meet, and that we meet with the chief of police once a month, because it seems like the community is not aware of us and what we do. So it might be something that is announced on your Facebook or your social media, that we do exist and when we meet. And then they're also welcome to attend our meetings either on Zoom or to come in person, because they don't know that we exist. And we are a new commission. That might be one of the reasons We're a brand new commission, but the mayor made a point of mentioning that at the candidate forum a couple of weeks ago.
That's a great idea. You can always put meet the community safety commission, you can put Vice Co-Chair Thomas' picture up there. And the rest of the commissioners as well. Because it is important that the community know that we're here and that we're meeting, that we are a liaison.
I agree. It seems to me though that in the past couple of years, we've been to events where we've been introduced as members of the commission, so it's not like we're not hiding, we just don't.
The number of people that attend that event is minimal.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
3 months from now. This is one of those things. All right, thank you. Commissioner Vasquez, your hand is still up.
Oh, I was gonna say, I hear that all the time. If I say the full name of the committee or if I even say the acronym, they'll say, well, what's that? And then when you explain it, they're like, oh, I didn't know we had a commission that interfaces or, as a liaison between residents and the police. When did you guys start that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have to agree with Vice Chair Thomas that we need more, I guess, more visibility or just, at least letting people know that we're here. Even if we don't say put individual pictures up, but maybe just put like a prior meeting picture, up, to say like we have this commission and it shows like us sitting in our chairs, there in the hall there, something like that. But just to let people know that there is this committee that exists for this purpose.
If I was a Facebook guru, I would create a Facebook page for the commission. But unfortunately,
Is that something for us to
Something
do?
we can do? Is that allowed?
I could add city clerk.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could add city.
Oh, because I'll volunteer to do that if we're allowed to do that. I will. Do that.
All right, Commissioner, I'm ready.
Thank you. I was reviewing our prior year accomplishments. And I went through some of my old notes and I came across the idea that September of last year, Chief Ward just mentioned that he was interested in maybe having some members of the commission, members of our committee here do a ride-along. So I was going to report on that when it comes time for our reports, but that was something that I went through my notes and I did. I can tell you about it now, or I can tell you about it the next time.
Let's hold that for the next time, because I wanted to know about your assignment on. Do you have an update on your assignment, or you want to pass?
Well, we did the special committee. I'm working on it.
Okay.
I got down that we did have a special committee for fireworks advisory, right?
Right.
And then if there might be some other things that I could talk to the chief about maybe at some other time, that would be fine, or whenever you think about it. We don't have to do that right away, right?
Correct.
Okay.
But we're working on it.
We are. And I every time I've sent an email to the chief, you got right back to me, so I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
What section were you assigned to?
Prior year acknowledgement.
Okay, thank you. And Commissioner Velasquez is up there.
And just for the record, Gina, so the key activity 1 and 2 was assigned to Co-Chair Thomas. Key activity 3 and 4 was assigned to Katz. Key activity 5 is Commissioner Corleone. And then yes. Where's yours? Yes. Yeah, prior accomplishment was Commissioner All right. Thank you. Right. Commissioner Corleone, would you like to pass? Okay, all right, we'll get your update at our next meeting, as well as with Chair Thomas. All right. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Commissioner Velasquez.
Yes, I just want to say mine was historical background, and the only thing I did was take out in the first sentence "and ever rising." So basically now would read due to ongoing tensions, but not, I took out the ever rising.
Okay,
And then I had one suggestion, which I think I had brought it up in a meeting before. And that was the fact that based on the Sonia Massey case and what happened with that case, is that for Seaside residents, we have other law enforcement bodies that also police us. If you live on the seaside side of former Fort Ord, that would be Palm or Presidio of Monterey. Every once in a while, we also will have interactions with the, county sheriff's office. And then also CHP regarding our highway. And so it was in regards to possibly also interfacing with those law enforcement entities. Maybe like once a year just to let them know about this committee, being that they are also entities that police our residents. And then maybe inviting them to a meeting or two or whatever.
we get your input on that, please.
Yeah, if that's something you guys wanted to do, to invite other agencies to come here, that'd be at your discretion. I can't guarantee others will attend or not attend. But you can always send invites, but it should come from the commission, not from the police department. I can talk to them about it and give them the background, but the invite should come from the commission if it's the commission's request to have that.
Any other commissioner has a side view or opinion on that?
On what Velasquez?
Yes.
Yeah. I do know that it does affect any citizen that's going out on the where code becomes eucalyptus. Starting at that point, at a certain point down that road where the block, the dead end is, when you familiar what I'm talking about, Chief? I'm not sure where the city ends and where the federal people come into, or the county, and I don't know that they know. Not trying to be funny, but I don't think it's extremely clear to dispatch. So I think that's a good safety issue, is to invite these individuals so we can say, what's your protocol when you get a call from somebody, they don't know exactly where they are at, but they're out in that zone somewhere, and how do we go forward with that? That's the thought I had when it was brought up about the different agencies overlapping.
Yeah, I would just, again, so if we're gonna ask other agencies to come here and get their protocol and whatnot, I don't see them attending. I don't see them coming to do it. And I'll just give you my honest opinion or feeling. It's not even an opinion. This is my honestest feeling. I'm uneasy when there's any other police entity in the city of Seaside. It doesn't matter what agency it is. It could be the sheriff's office, Monterey Police Department, Presidio Police, any other entity, because Seaside is a unique place. Seaside has a history, and I get very uncomfortable when other police uniforms are in this city. I've had, we talked about the incident where I went live. The first time I went live, many people don't know this, but I had a pretty heated debate with the gentleman running the sheriff's SWAT team that particular day, because it was go, 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 let's go, let's go, let's go, let's expedite everything. And because of that, I'll call it a debate again, because of that debate, disagreement, they slowed things down. And there's a reason why there was a 5-6 hour standoff instead of a 10-minute standoff with a bad ending. And that was because I was frustrated. And I feel for the city of Seaside, in all of my years growing up in this area, that Seaside is looked at as a city where it is a place you can come in and it can be your playground. You can come from an area that has more wealth, and you can come here as a law enforcement officer and use all your toys, your tools that you have to see how they actually work, because you're not using them in your community, and you wouldn't use them in your community, but you would go to somebody else's community and maybe push the envelope a little bit. I'm not saying that happens every time. I'm not saying that's going to happen every time. That's my concern. I have seen it happen one too many times in my 22 years almost. So even if we bring somebody in here and say, hey, what's your protocol? What's this? What's that? We can kind of give you guys that protocol. We can kind of give you guys from our end what those boundaries are of where it is. The bottom line is anywhere that you drive on the Monterey Peninsula, even Seaside, if there is another police officer, a state police officer, CHP, CHUMB, sheriff's office, any California certified police officer, they can enforce laws. They can pull you over. They can enforce any violation that they see. Presidio is a little bit different. They do traffic stops, but they can only do traffic stops on former Fort land. What happens a lot of the times is they'll come off of Infantry or one of these roads and they'll end up on General Jim Boulevard because they're following you because they saw the violation. Now they're pulling you over in Seaside's jurisdiction. And we've had some over the years, it's been much better over the last 4 to 5 years, but over the years, historically, there has been a ton of problems because they're not state certified. They don't go to the same California Peace Officer Standards training that we do. The benefit over the last 5+ years or so is that they have hired a lot of retired California police officers. So that has definitely helped their professionalism a bit. But I have seen things that I'm still a little bit uneasy with. And when I see any other police car in our city, I will inquire and want to know why they are here. And we built up a reputation of that now where we're not the city. You can come over and just, you have a search warrant. You're just going to go hit a house and you're going to call us 3 minutes before and block up all the roads because we'll be there in your ear letting you know that's not okay. And we wouldn't do that to any other community. So do not do that in Seaside. So I will support whatever the commission thinks is best. If you guys want to meet with other agencies, I won't even say whether I think that's effective or not. I don't know. But I think you guys getting this from us, I think that's the intent of the mayor. That's the intent of the commission, is to be advisory to our police department. And as we start to explore other agencies, I think it's a waste of time.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Velasquez.
First, I want to thank Chief Burgess for saying what he said just now. Luckily I was on mute with all the cheering I was doing when he said that. But in regards to this request, though, again, I do agree with Chief Burgess. And I do remember in regards to that incident about the debate and hearing about that. So, but in regards to this request, it's more in regards to things that citizens have said to me, and basically like not knowing, like if they have a complaint against Palm PD or if they have a complaint against the sheriff's office or CSUMB police, like not knowing what to do and kind of feeling powerless regarding that. And so I was just thinking maybe with this request, it could be something to where it empowers the community. It also lets these other law enforcement entities know that, the community is aware of them, and, that if, said community has a complaint or something like that, they could know where to go and what to do. And so, again, more for empowerment. But again, I do agree with what Chief Burgess said, because, as I've heard from community members, when they have been or had these interactions with these other entities, they have not been pleasant. So I see his point and actually, agree with it, but it's again, it's just basically a request that came from interactions with community members where it's like, well, maybe, letting these entities know that our city specifically has this commission that, is considering the community's concerns, that, maybe it could be a good thing that they know that, there's eyes watching. So, again, that's the place that the request comes from.
Thank you. We will. Let us take that on advisement. How's that?
Thank you.
No, all right. Any other comments on the 2024-2025 annual work plan assignment? All right, so now we'll move forward to agenda item number 7, report from commissioners. We'll start to my right.
None at this time.
Thank you.
I had a brief ride along that was very insightful and very informative. I contacted Chief Borges and he set me up with the officers that I needed to see. We had a date for it on a Thursday afternoon. And I thought the police were very professional. It was Officer Chris Villacana who took me out. And we were out for just a couple of hours. I did witness the officer make an arrest. He was telling me about a situation. This was, if I remember right, it was like off of LaSalle and this side of Yosemite, where there was a disturbance in the morning. It was a woman and her son. This poor man, he seemed like he was really intoxicated. Young man, must have been 30-something. The police were very professional. The officer told me to stand on the sidewalk. I stood at the sidewalk. I watched the police go in. There was a dog there. The officer didn't have a problem with the dog. Man came outside. He was screaming and yelling. It was like 2:30, maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The kids were coming home from school and neighbors were looking. And I thought the police did a really professional job of just keeping the peace. And they made an arrest. They treated the man with dignity and respect. I thought he was something wrong with this guy. This man was under the influence of something. And as a matter of fact, before we got the call, Officer Villacana was telling me that one of the problems that he sees is people having problems when they're under the influence. So I would recommend this to everybody to take if the opportunity presents itself. It was a positive experience for me and have a better understanding of police business and what happens when the police take somebody under arrest.
I have no report at this time, other than to say I am still interested in doing a ride along, so I will be contacting you soon.
I too would also like to do a ride along. But that's not my report though. This was a request from a community member if we could possibly on the Seaside PD social media, if we could highlight Officer Alex regarding animals in regards to like what animals he will deal with, what animals he won't. And then I guess a contact number or the best contact in regards to, calling him to come out.
Always on there.
That information. I couldn't hear you.
Alex is always on there.
Okay, so that was just.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. He might be. I'm. This last couple weeks I've been ill, so I have not been as active in regards to social media, but that was just something that came from one of my elderly neighbors because we're having the cat situation again. And so they were just like, well, if they would just put it somewhere so that we can always see his information and know where to call. So that was a community member request, was for just to, I guess, highlight them. And then also to know, because I guess we get raccoons. I've seen a possum in my yard. And I've seen a skunk. And so just to know, like, is he only handling like just the domesticated animals in regards to cats and dogs, or like, as my neighbor had, I want to say a couple days ago, like, will he take care of a skunk? That kind of thing. And then that's the end of my report.
Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough but I do know that Officer Alex he's amazing. That's all I can say. And we are getting more and more. Is it just that time of year well, Alex is not here, so that just time of year for more and more critters. I guess that's the question. I saw a coyote in Seaside the other day. I was like, wow. Well, it was really early in the morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning. Saw a coyote. It was like, wow. And so anyway, Commissioner Cassidy.
Well, first, I'd like to say I've heard nothing but positive things about Alex myself and my community. And as you already know, he's a really great asset to our community. Well, I do have one issue I'd like to talk about briefly. I read about King City and the fact that they've been installing security cameras. They got some sort of grant that they're using down there to encourage the citizenry, if they choose to help pay for security cams at the residences. And then I started looking into the on the internet, and apparently it looks like San Jose does a similar program. Someplace called Lakewood. I don't know where that is, but and Santa Fe Springs, these all have some sort of programs that support citizenry and or businesses to put up video cameras, installing security cameras, either at their business or residence. Most of them, from what I'm seeing, have a caveat that, you know, they want one of the cameras pointing towards the roadway or the public area. And the idea is that if there was something that happened in that community, then they would cooperate with the police in supplying information that might have been captured. So they're building a relationship where the police know where the cams are, the private citizens participating in the program, and there's a grant. I didn't know if we wanted to put that on the agenda for next time to look at, or how do you feel about something like that, Chief? Have we done anything like that?
Yes, we've had a program like that in the past. It was pretty effective, and essentially it was on our website too. You can go to our website, register to include your information on your camera. It gives us access to, you have a camera, it records, and we had a spreadsheet, so you could just upload all your stuff through a program. It was pretty good, but honestly, our detectives, as I've always said, just them going out to our area, we're pretty small, dense, canvassing the immediate area, the main arteries of the city. It's pretty effective, but we're always looking at other ideas and opportunities to enhance surveillance cameras and et cetera. I did see the King City's information, and it's something we're always looking at to see if we can enhance certain things. But we have had a program like that for a long time, and it wasn't the best program, but it was nice to have. It was a good feature to have where people could say, I live here, I have cameras facing the roadway. And if detectives ever needed to, they would just log into the spreadsheet and they could see, okay, this address has cameras that face the street. But our camera program we have now existing through Flock is extremely effective, extremely effective. Most people are committing crimes and they're associated with a vehicle, especially major crimes. They don't want to walk away or ride a bike away from a shooting. They're going to get in a car and drive really fast. And our cameras have helped us resolve so many different cases. But yeah, we're always open to looking at those things. And we, again, when these meetings aren't occurring here in these commissions, we meet weekly. We met Tuesday, and all these ideas come together. We come forward. We look at opportunities to make it even better.
If I'm hearing right here, and oppose us looking at it, how do you guys feel about putting it on the agenda next time, or would we want to back off on that?
Yeah, let's put it on. That's a motion. I second it. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that then. And then we can look at it a little closer, see if it's worth looking at. Dealing.
So if that was a motion, can that motion be repeated so I can have it listed?
I make the motion that we place on the agenda an item. Let me see what I wrote down here. An item to review the possibility of grant programs for installing security cameras at residences or businesses. Security camera installation at residences. And the word grants at the end of all that. Correct. Do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
You can't call for a motion. Only the chair can do that.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you so much.
I request that you call for the aforesaid motion.
Thank you so much. You're so kind.
I'm sorry.
You know what, you guys don't need a motion for that. The chair can put that on. It's not agendized for action tonight, but you can certainly chair direct that and put on the agenda for the next time.
It's great.
Without a motion.
It's great to have you here. Thank you so
It's
much.
up to you.
So, and then solidity. All right. All right, Commissioner Vasquez,
Oh, I just wanted to know if Commissioner Katz could send me that article. I just want to read it.
It was, I think it was on the internet that I was looking at it, but I'll try to find it.
All right, thank you.
right. All right, so that's the report from our commissioners. At this time, we'll move forward to report from staff. So the time fiscally set aside for staff liaison to provide updates on non-agendized presence commissions. And to provide brief information on topics under the preview of the commission. Yes.
Commissioner Velasquez, is your hand up again?
Oh, I'm trying to fix. Okay, no, it's not. I'm sorry. I thought I lowered it just now.
Okay, I just did.
Oh, nope. Okay, there we go. Okay.
Thank you.
Staff network.
I have no report this time. I think we got it all out in our earlier conversations.
I just kind of static today. You're sitting down. Getting
It
up.
feels good, getting my steps in.
Yeah. Working on your squats. All right, so, no staff report. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjournment.
I second.
Let's move in second and we adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Hi.
Thank you for your time and good night.